Adam Conover from Adam Ruins Everything put out a 3-minute video of what he thinks about the Activision Blizzard merger. So I'm going to go over it point by point.
So I've been thinking a lot about how Microsoft just bought Activision, one of the world's largest video game publishers, and I think that news is a lot more frightening than most people realize.
All right, let's see how Adam thinks it's more frightening.
Like, I see people worrying, oh, what if they make Call of Duty an Xbox exclusive? But that's not the issue. The issue is that Microsoft can use Activision to undercut the rest of the entire video game industry and build a monopoly.
I mean, even after this acquisition, they're only going to be the third largest video game company in the world, behind PlayStation and Tencent.
See, most publishers sell their games for $60 or $70, which they have to do because the games cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make and years of effort. But Microsoft has recently disrupted that strategy by introducing a service called Game Pass, where you can get hundreds of games for just $9.99 a month.
So you're being a little misleading here, Adam, because $9.99 a month is only for PC or Xbox. If you want both, which is the best deal, it's $15 a month, which also includes game streaming. Plus, you're only guaranteed to get Xbox Game Studios first-party games day and date on Game Pass. Others, they're still making deals with these companies and paying them a lot of money to get them on the service. Even the non-Xbox games, they're still not going to be staying on Game Pass for forever.
And now they're buying up game publishers so they can put their games on the service.
I mean, it's not all about the service, though. People were saying they didn't have games. Now they have games. Plus, building your own studio is very expensive. It's much easier to go and buy a known studio who has all the staff ready to go and the properties behind it. Just look at Xbox's newest studio, The Initiative. They're still building that studio from the ground up, and they're still making it a small team using a lot of outside help to make their first game.
Microsoft has bought so many game studios that they now own Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake.
I'm just going to stop you right there because you're just naming off properties at that point. PlayStation and Nintendo have hundreds of more properties too, and there's many, many more that are not tied to Xbox.
Remember Zork?
No, but neither did Activision, and now Zork has a chance to see the light of day, just like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, whose studios who made those games were folded into being Call of Duty studios.
It doesn't matter if Call of Duty is also available on PlayStation, if you can get it for $9.99 instead of $70.
You're making a lot of assumptions about the future of Call of Duty, and we don't know what they're going to do with Call of Duty. Plus, most people who buy Call of Duty don't play the campaign. They only go for Warzone or the multiplayer. And who knows, Xbox could make Call of Duty like Halo and make this multiplayer separate and free to play.
And get hundreds of other games too? That's what you're going to do. The deal is just too good to pass up.
Yes, it's too good of a deal to pass up if you have an Xbox or a good PC, or if you're okay with streaming games on your phone or tablet.
Now I can hear what you're going to say next. You're saying Sony and Nintendo just need to make their own Game Pass competitors and make their own games, $9.99 a month.
I mean, if people are saying that, it's because that's where the market is going. Xbox may have started it, but Ubisoft and EA now have their own subscription services that are also their own costs. Because with games costing $70 on next-gen consoles, gaming is becoming too expensive of a hobby for most people.
Here's the problem. I don't think they can do that. I think Microsoft is taking a massive loss on Game Pass.
You do realize that most consoles are sold at a loss in the first several years of a generation, right? Nearly every console manufacturer knows they're going to be losing money when selling the consoles in the start of a generation. They know they're going to make that money back later on.
And they're able to do that because they are literally 10 times bigger than Sony and Nintendo combined.
You're taking into account the entire worth of Microsoft, which is wrong. If you watch the newest documentary by Xbox On, you will see that they had to fight for every single dollar they had to use to make Xbox what it is today. That doesn't mean, though, that if Microsoft CEO realizes that Xbox isn't worth it anymore, he's not going to cut the funding off.
Nintendo makes video games and playing cards. Sony makes video games and headphones.
Yes, let's ignore every other part of these massive companies, like Nintendo's toy side and Sony's movie business. And don't forget Sony's TVs and their electric cars coming soon. Sony makes a lot of stuff.
Microsoft makes video games, the operating system that every computer in the world runs on, and the web services that every website in the world runs.
Yeah, that last statement is just hyperbolic and wrong.
They are one of the biggest companies in the world, and that means that they can use their massive cash reserves to subsidize their video game service forever.
Again, you're just assuming that Xbox has access to the entire funds of Microsoft, which is just financially wrong.
It's the Amazon strategy. They can take a loss on every single video game they sell through Game Pass forever until they have wiped out the competition, and Sony and Nintendo cannot do shit about it.
Again, this is just hyperbolic and wrong. Nintendo is doing just fine. They've just reported their financials, and the Switch is almost the best-selling console ever. And Sony's PS5 has already outsold its predecessor at this time point, even though there's a chip shortage. Honestly, the first of these three to ever go away would be Microsoft. They would rather just stop making consoles and also just make it a streaming service. They're already focusing on making Xbox Game Pass a TV app and also available on your phone, your computer, other consoles. It's going to be the future of just Xbox Game Pass being another service available on everything.
Actually, I should say I think Nintendo will be fine, because Nintendo has Mario and Zelda, and everyone loves Mario and Zelda. But I think Sony is fucked.
Yeah, the number one game company right now is fucked. Sure.
Whereas Microsoft is able to lose money indefinitely. So indefinitely that they can sell the damn console and Game Pass for just $25 a month.
Somebody definitely did not do the math on this. What he's referring to is Xbox All Access. And for $25 a month, that's over 2 years. And that covers the cost of the console and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for those 2 years. It breaks even in the end for the total price of both features. Their only loss they have right there is the cost of the console that they always lose money on.
That's an amazing deal, but it's one of those deals that we might later say, ooh, that deal was a little bit too good to be true.
People paying the price of a console and Xbox Game Pass over 24 months payment is too good of a deal to be true? What?
Because it could mean that Microsoft wipes out all the competition in the video game space and then is able to jack the prices up on us and also make games that are a lot worse.
There is zero evidence that Xbox Game Pass leads to worse games. Actually, it's been leading to better games. Tim Schafer has been on record to say that because of Xbox, Psychonauts 2 was actually the game it is today. They were actually not going to have any boss fights in the game before they got bought by Xbox. And Halo was delayed by a whole year, a year after the launch of their major new console. They would not have done that if they were just being money hungry.
And let's not forget that all this consolidation naturally is going to lead to layoffs and worse conditions for workers.
Yes, consolidation is bad and it does lead to layoffs, but can you actually argue that the conditions at Activision was better than what they would be under Microsoft? Absolutely not.
Microsoft isn't trying to be the Netflix of games, they're trying to be the Amazon of games.
Again, this is just a baseless point that you're just making an exaggeration out of, just a fearmonger. Xbox is making better games overall, and they have been for the past several years. It's been dramatically increasing. Just look at the Metacritic score of their games. And we have yet to see the full force of Microsoft. They have all these studios that have been working on games for a long while. If they were trying to be the Amazon of games, they would have been pumping these games out left and right, like Amazon Game Studios have, which have been awful, awful games.
They want to use their massive cash advantage to undercut and dominate the entire game industry. That is bad for video game makers and video game players, and as someone who loves video games, I'm worried.
Wow, you really do ruin everything, including your closing argument.